Baz's backyard, coming up to July. These are my koi carp, which I bought when they were about 4.5 inches old, and they only cost me a few pounds each. I tried to pick different colours over a period of 2 or 3 years. That's about 10 years ago now, and I bought 1 or 2 since. The blue one there's new. If you want to give your koi carp a good treat, then buy these mealworms, which you feed to the birds normally, but these koi carp thrive on them. Got to mind you don't overdo it, because it pollutes the system. But you can see it's like steak and chips to them. So this is my backyard update. You can hear little blue tits, I think, that have hatched out. There's loads of tits this year. I like to have a couple of red geraniums. I think they're great for pots marking the entrance of a pathway or something. In the background there you can see my species rose Kifgate. It's a fantastic climber, great pollen source for the bees. So let's start over there and work this way. So here's my little veg plot, and it just goes to show you don't have to have a lot of space to grow something that's worthwhile. The second lot of lettuce, little gem, I've put in green ones this time. The runner beans, which are, I think they're red night, they've nearly reached the top of the poles. In fact, there's one that has done, and they need to be pinched out like so. Don't be afraid to pinch them out, because you've got to stop them eventually if you want to get flowers and runner beans later on in the summer. This is mint, which I grow in a pot because it spreads really inconveniently, so the only way to grow it is in a bucket or something. Don't use much of it, but I do like it. There's the peas. They've done quite well. Looking forward to taking a few peas. Fresh ones, you can eat the whole lot if you chop them small in a salad. Over on the left here is the middle section of my water system. Main pond is there, and then this is like a vegetable filter, which has got a corrugated land drain in it. Takes out the sediment mostly. There's a diversion here that goes into this tray, and it seems to help this Japanese conifer, I forget what it's called. Helps. In fact, the name of the conifer is Spruce Oriental Gold. It's very slow growing, and it really looks nice in this location. Down on the right you can see an old washing up basin, which is half submerged in the middle filter system. In it I've got some daphnia, which I'm trying to breed and put them into the pond system for the koi carp. These daphnia, you can buy them live online, and they really seem to thrive in this spot. I got about 10 packets and I tried them in different places to see which did the best. This is a waterproof camera, so I'm going to try it for the very first time. Now underwater. Amazing. It's a Panasonic HXWA 30. See, when they come out of the water you get the reflections. It's interesting. So what else have I got to show you today? That's my little bird bath. and you can see the bees there on the side using it as a source of water. Great. It's all run from a little solar panel, which is the reason why this wire goes all the way up. It's about a 10-12 inch little solar panel, and that runs the pump in the main pond, and works very well. Very pleased with that. In fact, I liked it so much I got a second one up there, just in case the first one packed in. You may be wondering what's in the dustbin, but I'll show you. That's liquid manure, and it's great stuff. It smells absolutely foul. And I put leaves in here from time to time. The best ones, actually, it just smells really like farmyard manure. And the best ones are this forage. Sorry, comfrey. Comfrey, which I grow by the compost bin, because it's quite deep rooted. So is the rhubarb, and so the roots go down and they draw up all the nutrients that are lost through the compost bin, which I water occasionally. I'll show you in the bin, and it gives you an idea of just what you can compost. Which is just about everything that has lived. It's all the kitchen scraps, weeds, bit of soil, tissue papers, all sorts of stuff. And after about a year or so, down at the bottom, behind that rhubarb leaf, I'll show you. Right, let's see what we've got this year. First time I've opened it. Oh. So that's the result. I reckon that's pretty good stuff. And what a saving on buying bags of compost in the supermarket and that. The rhubarb's really good this year. Keep it well watered all the time. Down on the left here I found a good place to grow parsley. Don't eat a lot, it's nice in a Thai curry. And with gardening you've got to try and find the places that plants like to grow. You can't just plant something and expect it to grow, it might not like it there. But this parsley in little pots does it here, and I think it feeds off this soil and stuff which is on the ground, and it's probably fallen out of the compost heap when I've taken it out from time to time. These kneelers are really handy. I have them around the garden, and apart from keeping your trousers clean, they're good to kneel on when you get to my age. Here under here, now then, where have those come from? They've come from the compost heap, because I put chicken bones and lamb bones and any bones from the kitchen, they go in the compost heap too, and worms love them. They go right through the bin, and when I use it in and around the garden, they turn up, and when I find them in the veg plot when I'm hoeing, breaking, I collect them and I'm putting them in this bucket. What I intend to do is, on a nice hot sunny day, I'm going to put them out on the paving stones and smash them all up with a lump hammer, turn them into bone meal. That gate keeps banging. Let's go and fix it. That's the gate that keeps banging. While I'm here, I'll just show you these nasturtium seedlings, which I saved from seed they've just sprouted on the greenhouse staging. This isn't a very good spot to grow them. It's a bit of an experiment this year. They prefer a bit more sunshine, but we'll see how they get on. They'll flower at the end of the summer, and they should be bright red and different colours. This Kiffgate rose is actually growing. You'll never believe it. Out of a little hole in the paving. And it does quite well. In fact, it does so well, it's getting a bit of a nuisance because it gets underneath the canopy up there. I have to keep getting it out because it's even getting into the house up there. So let's go back to where we were before, in the other corner of the garden. These birds have been crazy this year. They've been eating. It's been so cool and chilly. They love these pine nuts. Bottom of this feeder. They're so expensive to buy. I now mix them with peanuts, which I grind up in the food processor. But most of all, they like mealworms, live ones. There's the dried ones, and live ones I keep in this this container, plastic, and they do quite well. They're on the end now. I'll show them to you. They like to be kept in damp newspaper and fed with a meal which you can buy when you get the mealworms from the supplier. The blue tits absolutely love these things, and you can keep them quite well as long as you really you should put holes in the lid, but I just take the lid off regularly and that seems to be enough. Now then, they're so sought after by the birds that I try and protect the food from the bigger birds which just gobble it all up, and I've got various ways of doing that. This is this window feeder, which is really good, and I think of all the feeders it's the best. You can stick it on the window and enjoy the birds from the kitchen in all weathers, and the big birds can't get into it very easily at all, so that the blue tits can get in and have a beano. The other way of protecting your mealworms from the bigger birds is to put them in this cage, which I find very good. It's amazing how the small blue tits can find their way in through the holes which are slightly bigger on each side of the cage. So now we'll go around and have a look at the where I left off before. The apples are still doing okay. We've had the June drop, which you always get. It's nature's way of thinning the apples out, and I shall go around on another day and thin them out further, because with apples and with most things you have a choice between getting a lot of smaller fruit and veg or fewer bigger fruit and veg. The onions, which I left from last year in the ground because they didn't grow very well, have done reasonably well. I use the green tops chopped up in the green curry, Thai green curry. The strawberries, they seem to do quite well under the apple trees. That I tip out the bits in the kitchen water out of the sink onto these, and so that helps to feed them. There's a nice old cottage garden plant. I think it's feverfew, the white one. It has a very pungent smell if you crush the leaf. really belongs in my wife's garden at the front, which is the flowering cottage garden. The spinach has done quite well in a pot, and the seed, you don't need to buy fresh seed every year with spinach. It's very useful seed. I've started a new batch for continuity there. Over on the left, the blueberries in pots are doing reasonably well. I don't think they've got enough drainage, and I've got to see to that. It's a job for the autumn. This astroturf, which I thought was a brilliant idea, I've still got second thoughts about it. One of them is that it's to keep it clean, it's difficult. Anything that falls on it, whether it's soil or plant debris, has got to be removed if possible, and it's almost as though you've got to hoover your grass, and it's almost as difficult as having to cut it all the time. So anyway, we'll think about it. It was all made, as I said in my last video, about a month ago, from pieces of astroturf that were put in a skip by the next door who did his whole front garden with it. I might show you the results in a minute. So let's go into the greenhouse now and see what's cooking, or growing I should say. Tomatoes come on strongly. The first truss is forming on a number of them. The grapes are swelling out. This is the white seedless himrod. I think it's a Canadian variety. Not many grapes, I'm afraid, only a couple of bunches this year. The pak choy have done surprisingly well, but unfortunately a butterfly, white cabbage white, got into the greenhouse, and I thought it was quite quaint at first, but I paid the penalty of not dealing with it, because it's attacked these others which seeded on the staging also, and it's done. The courgette in the tub there, that's looks okay, but it's struggling. I don't think it's got enough light actually. I should clean the glass if I was to do the job properly. And also on the right here is a golden zucchini. You can see the small zucchinis forming from the flowers. On the right is my red chili pepper. I'm going to have to give that a bit more sun and cut some of these leaves away, I think. The bees are still doing well, I think. Can't be sure. I'll look in July, when the July flow comes about, which is the main flow for bees around here and most parts of the UK as well, I think. Down there some clematis cuttings have taken, and they seem to be doing quite well. Clematis likes to have its roots in the shade and its head in the sun. Quite a good, I wouldn't mind that myself. On the staging here, this tray, I should say, is really useful. You don't need to buy a special sort of potting tray, just get an ordinary tray from anywhere. Supermarket beginning with A, and you'll be fine. A couple of bean seeds from last year. These are white runner beans, and they're the only two seeds that survived. I'm trying to develop them so that I can get the seed from them for next year, and hopefully I'll get a white runner beans next year, which I do prefer to the red knight. These are seedlings, tomato seedlings from the greenhouse staging. The best one, I've potted up there and labelled it mine. Father used to tell me that the best way to judge a tomato seedling was by the thickness of the stem, and this one had the thicker stem, and so it was the one I chose. An old kitchen knife is handy especially to cut your rhubarb. And don't throw the leaf away, you can put that in the compost bin as well. In fact, I'll show you. You put the old leaf on the top of your compost bin and it helps to keep the moisture and the warmth in the bin, so it's great. If you haven't got enough room for potatoes in your plot, then you can grow a few in tubs and large plant pots. And these I planted, I was late planting them I suppose. They sprouted on the kitchen windowsill, or yes, sprouted. And those there are Jersey Royals, which are just from the veg shop. And I always keep different potatoes in the spring and see which ones sprout. Some of them don't sprout because they've been treated by the producers to stop them sprouting, so they have got a longer shelf life. Heaven knows what we're eating these days. These sweet pea seedlings, which I've saved, I think they're saved from last year's sweet peas which I bought, scented varieties. They're to go in my wife's plot at the front by her command. So let's go and have a look and see what's happening at the front. So going through to the front now. On the way, let's have a look at this gooseberry. Gooseberry is lovely to eat, but difficult to pick if they've got thorns on the stems of the branches. Well, this one is thornless, and I've trained it so that it goes along the fence. I've trained it into almost like a standard cross espalier fan. Anyway, it works quite well, and it's surprising you can grow in pots and keep it well watered all the time. Make sure your pot's got drainage holes in the bottom of it. And if you grow too many for your own use, they freeze okay as well. Just prune them as they grow so that they grow where you want them to grow. Down below here is where I put all my leaves. I recycle the oak leaves from the front, and they're really good to mix with your compost and dig into your garden. That's potato that's come up on its own, and a rhubarb stem that I pulled up and got a bit of root, so I'm trying to strike another plant in this bin, and I seem to be doing okay, supported there by a garden cane to stop the wind blowing it. And this works very well because this was full at the end of last autumn, and I've modified the bin so that there's a door down here which I've hinged, and a little magnet, molybdenum magnet there that's strong enough to hold that top hook. And there's the stuff. I'll just get some out and show you what it looks like. So it's quite good stuff really. The first lot at the bottom was really good because it did rotted a little bit more. This is only sort of semi-rotted. Have a look at these raspberries. They're coming on really nicely. And the bumblebees, I think I explained in my last video, it was the bumblebees, not the honeybees, that pollinated these raspberries. And they've grown very well in pots. Again, got to keep them well watered. That one there doesn't look too happy. The drainage holes are not good enough. I only put one hole in each pot, and I think I should have put much better drainage holes in, which I'm going to do in the autumn. Probably transplant them. I've got some new pots over here which I'm going to try and see if they're better. I rather like the look of that size there. Let's go through to the front. There's the big ancient oak tree, and here's the new modern AstroTurf lawn. Fabulous climbing rose, that one. Disease resistant as well. These little troughs, we've had them a long time. We restored them a bit this year together with the old bench. Put a couple of oak planks on that because the seat eventually rots when you buy a cheap pine one. Hanging baskets, quite pretty. Petunias, lobelia, and a couple of hybrids, I think. The front garden is my wife's domain. She looks after the front. She likes flowers, especially roses, and I like to grow things I can eat mostly. More interesting things, aren't they? But then I'm a man. I put in a little apple tree over there last year. I know it's not my garden this, but there was a bit of wall space, and I always like to use every inch of space I've got. Old beehive makes a good centerpiece in any garden. This has been originally it is a WBC hive. Don't keep any bees in it now. I used to when I lived in my previous house. I just painted it white, and it really looks pretty amongst the roses. On the top is a solar panel, and there's an idea to illuminate it from a solar panel, and so I chose these waterproof lights, which I'll show you. So there we are. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Sorry about some of the crackling, which I think might have been due to the low battery. See you next time.